Well, we're still working on the Connie locomotives.
Oh, that's a Connie? What happened?
That's just the nickname for the Bachmann consolidation.
But you're missing the component top.
Well, this is the one from last week that had the short in the motor, and after we took the board off and threw it away, it works okay. This is what we're calling Connie number 2, Don's Connie. And he's got it now rewired with a Tsunami soundboard, and it's running great and sounding great and working great, and he's ready now to start putting his boiler on. And this is what we're calling Connie number 3.
Well, that's a nice looking engine though.
And oh, isn't this great? And I'm planning to repaint it. Because the prototype that they used here is Mexicano 14.
How neat.
So that was the prototype locomotive, and I want to repaint mine to that paint scheme so that it's accurate.
Right.
That'll be fun. But its biggest problem right now is this. It's got a broken wheel truck.
Oh, no.
On the tender. And this is one of the most common problems with Bachmann locomotives.
Oh, dear.
There's a structural defect in the way they've built these trucks and the type of plastic that they've used, and this is just really common to find these things. Don's engine had it, this engine has it, and a lot of the commenters on the channel were all saying the same thing, that they've got a broken wheel truck. And I broke one of the wheel trucks on this locomotive.
Oh, serious? No way.
And I've glued it back together with super glue twice, and it keeps falling apart.
Oh.
And what I'd like to do is just replace the broken truck. But that's proving to be a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
Because when you go to Bachmann's website, there they are. There's the wheel trucks. And I don't care which locomotive you look up, they don't have them. They're sold out.
Oh.
Because it's such a common problem.
Oh, my goodness.
So people have bought up all the trucks, and I don't know if they're going to have some more. But in the meantime, you have to figure out some way to repair your truck because you can't just buy a new one. Now, Don was lucky in that someone had found that piece right there.
I see.
And his came with that.
Oh.
It was just loose in the box. And he said, I wonder what this is. And then when he realized he had a broken wheel truck, it's like, oh,
the major part.
but we have no idea how somebody was able to get a hold of that part because it's never been listed in Bachmann's catalog as a separate part. But that gave him the ability to rebuild his truck. But I've got to figure out some way to repair this one. So you start by taking off that little spring. It's just held on with clips. And that exposes the screw. And you should be able to just back the screw out from here and get the broken piece out of there, but I wasn't able to.
Oh, it's in there, isn't it?
It broke right off, and this is the weak spot on these things. And if you'll notice, the problem is it broke the end off the screw too.
What in the world?
Because the normal fix for this is to back the screw out, drill the thing out a little bit longer, and then use a longer screw.
Well, that would work.
That would work, but I can't get the screw out of here because the entire plastic piece inside there just spins around. And I thought about putting a pin through here and then backing the screw out, but that's going to weaken the whole thing because I had to put a pin through here.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh man, there's got to be some other way. But that was my initial plan, was to just drill a hole through the side of this, put some sort of a metal rod in there temporarily, and then that would allow me to back the screw out.
I wish you could glue this like the other locomotive.
Yeah, and the other one never really held, but I did some research online. Why doesn't glue stick to this plastic? And it's because they're using a type of plastic called a acetyl homopolymer.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I don't know, but it means it won't glue, because what I'd like to do is just put a glue joint right there, and then at the very back of this thing where the part is broken, because I can easily put glue there, and it looks like it should, there's plenty of surface to glue to if I could just find a glue that's going to work.
Oh, dear.
So I got online to see if I could do that, and then I thought for added strength I can drill right here, and then I can drill on the opposite side as well and put a brass pin through there. And at that point I don't think this thing will ever fall apart.
I wouldn't think so, not with all that.
But I need to find a proper glue that can glue these so-called acetyl homopolymers. Delrin, nylon, some of the...
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I found. Loctite makes a system. And you use the Loctite 770 primer and then the Loctite 401 adhesive. And then you use an accelerator, just a kicker, and they say that will glue these acetyl homopolymers, even Delrin.
Really?
And nothing sticks to Delrin.
There's some that, there's some glues that don't.
And we bought this off Amazon. It had to be specially shipped and whatnot. And then we also bought the 401 adhesive off of Amazon. And it's like, okay, we're going to give it a shot. Let's see if we can make this work.
Yes.
So I went through the clamp drawer and looked for an appropriate clamp that can hold this whole thing together while the glue sets up. And fortunately, we have a lot of different clamps.
Yes, I love that one in particular.
This one comes in handy for a whole lot of things. So I took all of the electrical components out so that wouldn't be in the way. And those just back out with 2 little screws. It's quite simple to take, and that removes the brake mechanism and everything. It all comes out with 2 screws. I marked here the polarity of the wires, blue and red, or black and red, I'm sorry, B and R for black and red. And then that little tab on the front truck, it faces the front of the locomotive. On the rear truck, it faces the rear of the locomotive.
Well, that's handy.
Which means the wiring is different between the 2 trucks.
Yes, of course.
So you got to keep track of all that. So I test fit that, and the problem is the broken piece then wanted to hold that out and make it not close completely up. So I very carefully turned the broken piece with a screwdriver until I found the exact position where the broken piece set in there. And then I took the 770 primer and I painted it on the 3 exposed surfaces that I'm going to apply glue to on both the wheel truck side frame and the wheel truck bolster. And then there was no real instructions with this, and I assumed that you let the primer dry.
I would think so.
I would think so. And so then I carefully made sure everything was in alignment and put the 401 adhesive and closed that up very quickly. And then also working as quickly as I could, I got the clamp in place. And now I was ready to hit it with the kicker accelerant. I'm just using one that we have around called Kicker. And I actually moved as fast as I possibly could because the glue is designed to set up very rapidly. And so I wanted to make sure that I bang, bang, bang. As soon as the primer was dry, got the glue on there, made sure everything was in alignment, closed everything up, clamped it, and sprayed it. And then double checked to
you
make
didn't
sure.
glue your wheels or something.
Well, or got something a little bit out of alignment because there's no suspension to this thing.
Oh dear, no.
No, it's got to sit flat on the ground, and the wheels have to be able to, don't spill the glue, and it's got to be able to easily roll back and forth, and it's got to sit flat with all 4 wheels on the ground, which it's doing. So it's like, phew, I think this is going to work. If that glue truly holds, this could be a fix for any of these wheel trucks. It's expensive glue.
Yes.
$30.
Yeah, it better work.
So I let it sit for about an hour, and then I just went ahead and put the electrical components back on while keeping it clamped. It should have been well dry by now. It's a very fast glue. I mean, that's what cyanoacrylics are supposed to be.
But I find it's best to leave it clamped a little longer than what you'd want.
I wanted to leave it clamped for hours. I don't want to, risk it. Those little tabs need to go to the outside. Come on, flip that around. There you go. And now that will go in where it belongs, which isn't where I just set it. Now, I ran into a little problem with these electrical pickups. Notice that little bump. That has to drag against the wheel.
Oh, no.
And so the little tab faces to the outside of the truck, but notice when I first put it together, I've got one with the bump up against the wheel there on the right. The one on the left is in backwards.
Oh, heavens.
So I'm going, but the tab has to face to the side, so okay, it just needs to be flipped front for back.
There you go. Woo-wee!
So there it is, and again, I now just set it aside, did a little meditating, went and, walked the parapets for a while, and then said, okay, I think it's time to take this thing out of the clamp, and let's see if that glue is going to hold. And I do believe it's as strong as it was when it was brand new.
It sure looks like it.
And I'm not going to pin it.
Oh.
I think it's going to be fine
just
just
hold.
exactly like it is.
Right.
I'm not concerned. So hopefully that's a repaired wheel truck then.
Well, let's hope so.
And if so, this is the slick way to repair all these Bachmann trucks. And when the 440's truck falls apart again, maybe this time I can repair it for good using the same idea. Just glue it.
All right. Well, at $41 a truck, you can save a lot of money.
Yeah, but even though the glue is 30, but the
Well,
glue
that's
the glue
still, you're
should
gonna
glue
glue
a
a lot
lot
of
of trucks. And the way Bachmann's designed these things, it sounds like we'll be gluing a lot of trucks.
Yes.
Anyway, there it is. Went ahead and remounted it to the locomotive, fired it up, and there we go.
Nice.
A finished locomotive. It's all set to go.
Wonderful.
And I think it's going to hold. I'm not concerned. I'm ready to move on to changing out couplers, adding details and paint, and replacing the gears, because this one still has its factory gears. And while they're working, I don't trust them.
No.
And I've got a metal gear to put in here, so I may as well just go ahead and put the metal gear in here. Well, anyway, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, you would want to become a subscriber to the channel.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, because you want to follow along with this. And the easy way to do all of that is with the blue button. Are you ready for the blue button? Here comes the blue button.
It got glued.
It got glued. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring. And we will see you here on Sunday with some fun stuff.
Stick around.